Okay, so my next attempt here is to make a blanket similar to this, probably not exact, of course, and a couple pillows to throw on here rather quickly. So let's do that. So back in Max, what I'm going to do is get rid of the stuff I don't want. So stuff like this, just hide selection, then hide selection, and we'll just keep it to this right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is create a plane in my top viewport, something small. Alright, I'm going to set it above the mattress, kind of like so. I'm also going to turn it a little bit. Might make it a little bit bigger, something like that. And you see that I've added a million different segments here, 10 by 20. You can up this as many as you want to. Just remember, the more you have, the more it's going to take on your computer, especially mine, since I'm working off a laptop. But what you can do is just test it with as many segments as you want to. Hopefully your computer won't crash. But we're going to make this fall down using cloth modifier. Before I do that, I want to create some cylinders. I'll just create them right here in the front, add some length here. One of the top view. I'm just going to rotate them a little bit, kind of like this. And I've used reactor cloth in the past and some other things, reactor cloth and sculpting and FFD modifiers to get cloth to look right, and you know, they're all good, I suppose. They all have their advantages, but I kind of like using this method right here. What I'm going to do is just create some cylinders to throw under here so that this cloth has something to fold up and over. Something like that. I'm going to select one, convert it to an editable poly, and then go to my attach options here and just select the other cylinders and hit attach. So it's all one thing. Alright, and when I have that, I'm going to select the plane and call it bed sheet. And I'm going to go up here to the modifier list and hit C for cloth and add that. I'm going to go into the object properties, and while bedsheet is selected, I'm going to hit cloth, add objects, and I'm going to go to the bed frame, control click the chamfer box and the cylinders and add those, and they should still be selected here, and while they are, go to collision objects and click OK. So now it's basically ready to go, and all we do now is select the cloth object and hit simulate local, and that's going to fall over like so. And after it's fallen down as much as it can, just click the simulate local button again, and now you have some cloth. Go in here and delete these cylinders. If I hit F4, you can see how it's laying across the bed now. Now what I'm going to do is, we'll tidy it up, make it a little bit prettier. First off, it's not exactly touching the bed, as you can see. So first and foremost, with the cloth like that, I can just right click and convert it to an editable poly. That will collapse the cloth modifier on it. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to add a an FFD modifier. And with this, I'm going to click the control points and select these and just pull them up and off this so it's not penetrating, pull it up and off the bed frame. That's where the vertices weren't. You can see how the vertices here and the vertices here, so it has no way of just sticking to this. Instead it just penetrates through that. So just lift these up and off that so they're not penetrating as much. And I can probably just put a shell on here and it would take care of it, but I like to get, I don't know, better to be safe than sorry. So I'm going to go up here, I'm going to add a shell modifier, hit S, go down to shell, and that'll add a little bit. And I don't want it to be too thick, so I'm going to take it down to about 1/8 of an inch. On top of that, I'm going to add a turbo smooth, and hit F4, and there we go. We have a nice little cloth that's laying across there. It's not exactly touching the bed, as you can see. What I can do is select this and just bring it down just a tad so it's actually on the bed, like that. I can go down to my FFD modifier, take these control points and just kind of play with them. Make sure they're not penetrating. That off. Let's see, it's okay on the bed so far. This right here is penetrating a little bit. You can hit F4 and you can tell. Alright. And that is a bed sheet that's hanging across there. It looks pretty convincing actually, with no sculpting, no big deals. You kind of see where it's cylindrical here, but if you manipulate the cylinders well enough and form them how you want to, maybe like make a snake kind of way, you know, it'll all lay down pretty nicely, and you really won't have to do too much after that. Let's create a couple pillows while we're at it. We'll go to box and just make a pillow, give it some height on it, bring it up here on the bed, and give it that gray material. Right, F4 so we can see everything's going on. I can now hide this sheet. It's going to take up too much processing power on my computer. On the box I have 4x4 and 2. So if I apply a turbo smooth to that, you can see what it does. It kind of just makes it a box, and we don't want that. So let's delete that really fast. What I'm going to do is convert it to an editable poly. I'm going to take this, do a loop, and let's see, let's just kind of like bring it out like this some. And I'll add that turbo smooth on top of that just so we can see how we're doing. I'm going to scale it down a little bit, something like that. Just a little flatter. Alright. Now, underneath the turbo smooth, what I'm going to do is go and hit S a few times and go to something called Spherify. And you can see at 100% what it does to this box is kind of like blow it up into one big circle. And all it's doing is giving it a bulge here in the middle. So I'm just going to do something like that. Scale it back up a little bit. Go back to turbo smooth and look at it like that, and F4. It's kind of looking like a pillow. F4. Alright, go down to here. And what I'm going to do is do a ring selection here and do a connect. Kind of make it out like that. Alright, go back to turbo smooth, and we have that. Under the Spherify, what I can do is add an FFD modifier, 4x4. Might look a little funky. Let's see. It's not doing too much, is it? Probably because I flattened it like an idiot. But that's okay. What we can do is just to spherify a little more. It's going out like so. Just delete that. Delete that turbo smooth. Alright. And we'll put the spherify back on it. There we go. Something like that. And if I apply that turbo smooth on top of that, that looks a little bit better. I'll scale it this way some. It's a bit big, this whole thing. And pillows you can do so many different ways too. We can add a sheet around it, much like we did the blanket. You know, you can just put a box around it and make a sheet. Put this inside a little box area and have the sheet fall down over it, the pillowcase. We can add wrinkles and folds to this, but what I'm going to do with this actually is I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to call it pillow 1. Because what I'm thinking about doing is, since we kind of did a let's unhide all. Since we kind of did the blanket here using cloth, and we're not going to sculpt on it. And in this, what we can do is also show another method and do sculpting on that, and we can do that in the texturing DVD. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to leave it alone. Sorry about that. I'm just going to duplicate this over. And just maneuver it over here somewhere. Make sure it's on the bed. Kind of like, you know, move it in a way that looks pillowy or whatever. If that's a word. Alright. And I might actually take these and scale them down a little bit more. There we go. So now we have a couple pillows that are on there and a sheet, and everything's looking good. What I'll do is render this, Shift Q, and I have that ambient occlusion shader on it. And you can see right now it's pretty decent, actually. You know, we could probably get away with just texturing those pillows and it being fine. You know, doing a bump map for the wrinkles and such. But I think we're going to actually use some sculpting techniques in the next DVD for that. Alright, so save your work, and in the next tutorial we'll move on to the actual dresser drawers. So see you there.